Hey, everybody. Welcome to Cinco de Mayo for Ask Amy. It is 1 o'clock on Wednesday, which means it's time for me to answer all of your questions throughout the week. Today, we are talking about lending, and we're going to be doing that with one of my absolute favorite human beings who happens to be a lender, Ryan Rossblock, who I have been working with for the last 13 years. So let me bring him on. So, hey, Ryan.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thanks so much for joining me. This is Ryan with Guaranteed Rate Affinity Mortgage. I think I got that right. In rehearsal, I spit it out wrong a few times. What I always say is Ryan is someone who is so honest and such a great person that I would trust him with the plug to my life support machine, which may feel like a little bit of pressure to you, Ryan, I know, but almost all of my buyer clients use you, and that's after they go back and compare rates and service and fees, and they always come back and then they rave about you when we're done. And so I'm just so proud to have you as part of my team. And I probably don't thank you nearly enough. We were texting and phone calling all morning about various clients, but now I get to see your face. So this is fun for me.
Yes,
So
yeah, we haven't seen each other in a while. So we've been working together forever, and I don't even know how many transactions we've done together, but you've got my back and I've got your back. We're a team, and it's all about taking care of the client. So I can't thank you enough either, right? Because it's you kind of helping your clients go in the right direction, and not forcing them, right? But you're highly encouraging them, and it's important because you're trying to help them make the right decisions and don't get into the mess of sometimes, you have those lenders that things go sideways, and then Amy calls me and, Ryan, what can I do? I have some issues. So yeah, it works out well. We take care of each other. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. You've rescued a few deals after somebody went the wrong way. So yes. So, okay, let's jump into the questions. What are interest rates like right now for someone who has good credit?
Good credit. Okay. So if you have a credit score of 740 or higher, that's considered the best tier for a mortgage rate. Those rates right now are around 3%, maybe a little bit less, just kind of depending on the day, as rates do fluctuate. The lower the credit score, the higher the rates go. So, if you want the best credit, the best interest rates in the market, you really have to have the best credit for sure.
So, what is average credit? Like, what everybody's kind of unsure about their credit score, right? So, great credit is 740 and up.
Yeah, 740 or higher for a mortgage standpoint. That's considered great credit.
Okay, and average credit is, or good credit?
680 is kind of considered average. And then once you get below 640, let's say between 600 and 640, that's kind of, let's say poor credit. And then anything under 600 is considered bad credit.
Okay. And so if I have average credit, I'm going to look at an interest rate around.
Instead of getting 3, let's say you had a 660 credit score, you may be at 3.75. So it's a pretty significant difference.
Still a great interest rate. And so what about these guys that are like, well, interest rates, 6 months ago, a year ago, they were even crazier. Maybe if I hold out, they'll go back down again. Maybe I should just sit and see what happens. What do we say to those guys?
Not wise to kind of wait and time the market, right? I mean, rates are so low, whether, you get 3% or 2.875, it makes sense in the long run. Yes, it does help you, but in reality, rates just 2 years ago were over 4. So anytime you can get a rate anywhere around 3, it's just great to take advantage of. I do have plenty of clients who thought of, hey, well, let's just see if they can get a little lower. But then they go up, and then all of a sudden, now you don't have a house and rates are higher, and you're like, well, crap, now what do I do? Prices are going up too. So shoot, I'm just going to rent forever. Screw it, whatever.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And all those words come out.
Yes, exactly.
So, okay. So here's the other question that a lot of people ask. How much cash does someone need to have to put down on a home? I get this a lot from first-time buyers that are like, oh my gosh, I want to buy a house, but I've been renting all this time. I don't have a lot of money. I don't know if I'll ever have that nest egg. How much do I need to be saving up to really even think about buying a house?
Right. Typically for a first-time home buyer, the minimum down payment would be 3% on a conventional loan. You can do 3.5% FHA. There's even what they call USDA loans, which are no money down, but those are kind of on the outskirts of town, more the rural areas. So there are some programs with no money down. But if a buyer has good credit and they have a good job and their only hurdle is the money for down payment, I mean, there are down payment assistance programs that we can look at. So, those are things that they can definitely take advantage of. I mean, I have buyers closing all the time that they just don't have that much money in the bank. We get them a down payment assistance program. We structure the contract where the seller pays most of the closing costs, and we get them in a house for very little money out of pocket. It's a great way to get it done.
Yep. We've done that before, and I'm always proudest of those stories. It's a little harder in this market right now to get those closing costs covered, but it's surprising how little we can get people into a house for. So yeah, I love that. So what about more of the luxury buyers? And they're trying to step up, right? And they're trying to step up, like, let's say, into an $850,000 home, and they're trying to figure out how much cash they need to have together. Based on percentage, for an $850,000 home, and let's say they have great credit, how much cash do they need to have together to make that leap?
Typically at that price point, you're going to want 20% down. If you borrow more than $548,250, that's a jumbo category. So the rules are a little bit different. There are lenders out there who will do less than 20% down, but the rates get a little bit not very attractive at that point. So options are out there to do less than 20% down, but from a financial standpoint, it may not be something that they would want to do.
Got it. Okay. Icky interest rates. Got it. Okay. So I've had some folks ask about credit repair. So, they're not real happy with their credit score, but they've been approached by credit repair companies. Is that something you recommend?
Yeah. I mean, you really need a professional to help guide you in the right direction. It's hard for the consumer to really understand the ins and outs of the credit bureaus and the systems and how they work. There's a lot of tricks of the trade, but you also have to be aware of who you work with. I mean, there are plenty of credit repair companies out there. You have good ones, you have bad ones, just like you have great real estate agents and bad ones, great mortgage people, bad mortgage people. So it's about who you're working with. And you want a company working with you that they have a goal in mind for you. And their goal is to improve your credit, not just to take your money. There are plenty of companies who will just take your money, and whether your scores get better or not, they really don't care, unfortunately.
Okay. And I'm assuming you have somebody in your Rolodex that I'm aging myself.
Yes. Yeah.
If you don't know what a Rolodex is, you might be too young to look it up. Ask me, I'll tell you what a Rolodex is. But somebody that if they contact me or contact you, we can point them in the right direction.
Yes, I have a company that I know what their goals are, and their goals are to help the clients. They're not just going to take their money. And if they don't feel they can help the client, they're not going to take their money. They won't hire them on as a client. So, right. Their goal is to get things done, get things improved, and, again, not just take their money.
Perfect. Okay. So I love this one. I really want a new car. Speaking of, is that something that can help me establish a good credit history, having a car payment?
Yeah, if you add an installment loan to your credit profile, that definitely helps your credit improve over time. So having a car loan is a good thing. However, if you're in the process of buying a house, or if you want to buy something soon, you may want to hold off on that, or at least talk to a lender before you do that, so that you don't hinder your ability to purchase a house, right? Long term, that will help your credit, but it could get in the way of you buying a house. So, just kind of keep that on your radar and don't do anything if you know you're going to be buying a house soon.
So you mean it's a bad thing if someone rolls up to closing in a brand new Mercedes? Is that bad?
If they pay cash for it, that's okay. But if they get a loan for it, that could be an issue.
We've heard the stories. It happens. It's a no-no.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, so the market obviously is on fire. Agents are surviving on double shots of espresso. I'm sure lenders are doing similar. Are you still seeing refinance deals that are keeping you busy as well as purchases?
Yeah, I'm still doing some refinances, just not as much as last year. Last year at this time, that was when rates hit their bottom. It was a flood of phone calls for pretty much every lender in the United States. We were all just super busy. So that wave of refinances has slowed down, but there's still plenty of them out there. But the majority of transactions at this point are definitely purchases for me, at least.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I know the market is being super hot. And so this is kind of a question that has a lot to do with people predicting, is the market too hot? Is there a bubble? What's going to happen? So a lot of people are looking at appraisers, right? Are properties going to continue appraising at these quickly moving up home values where I'm seeing bidding wars and things sell the second they're listed? So are you seeing appraisals come back under value? And are you seeing that as a percentage higher than it used to be? Is it common? What are you seeing in appraisals making value?
I really haven't run into any problems personally on my files. And I've even talked to the agents and they're telling me, hey, look, this was a list price. Here's what we're paying for it. We know there may be an appraisal issue. I had one that was 30,000 over list and it appraised at 8,000 over that price. So
wow.
We were all a little surprised. So I haven't run into the problems yet, but it's certainly going to be out there. I mean, if the comps aren't there, they aren't there, right? The appraisers just don't make numbers up, but appraisers can make market timing adjustments. So they're not always doing that, but they have the ability to. I mean, we all know what's going on in the market, and we all know prices are being bid up. So I mean, appraisers are obviously well in tune with what's going on as well. So they're not out there trying not to hit values, right? They're trying to do everything they can to make that value, but the numbers simply have to support it.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. So another question, and this is a little bit of an insider question. How long is it taking an appraisal to come back once you go under contract? Because I'm seeing from when I'm on the listing side and I don't have control over who the lender is, I'm seeing this huge discrepancy and I know it's not something you have control over because appraisals are now run by appraisal management companies and it's just bid out third party. What are you seeing in terms of number of days? I know it can vary between an appraisal being ordered and an appraisal coming back when somebody's under contract.
Sorry, a little fly.
We have an extra guest. For free.
Yeah, for free. The appraisal turn time partially depends on the location of the property. Anything within, let's say, 610 or even Beltway 8, I haven't really seen any major delays on timing for those. A week, 10 days, somewhere around there. That's pretty typical. Once you start getting on the outskirts of town, past Katy, past Cypress, north of Woodlands, Conroe, whatnot, appraisers are just kind of cherry picking the orders now. They get an order in. Let's say the appraiser's office is in Katy, and let's say they get an appraisal order that's in Montgomery. They're just going to decline it. They're going to say, no, thank you, I'm too busy. I don't want to drive an hour. If I drive an hour and drive an hour back, that's 2 hours of my day. I can probably do 2 more appraisals closer to my office. So I've seen a lot of appraisal orders decline that are on the outskirts, so we have to send multiple orders. It can be a little frustrating. I've seen some appraisals take 3 weeks to get done, some a month. So it can be a challenge.
Woo. I will spare you my stories on the listing side of sending texts, sending phone calls, sending emails. I'd send flowers if I had to. I'm sure that's against the rules, but one day I'm going to knock on a door, be like, here's the Uber, come with me. We're going to appraise this house. Yeah. Yeah, it is frustrating. So last question. What is the best advice you can give someone who's thinking about buying a home in the next year or so?
I mean, really, my best advice is don't wait. If you can buy now, if you have the ability to buy now, don't wait. Like if you wait a year, what's going to change? Well, prices are probably going to be higher, right? So you're going to pay more, not only just price wise, but your mortgage payment is going to go up. And what about interest rates? If interest rates go back up over 4%, well, now you've paid more for the house and you're paying more on the interest rate. So your mortgage payment is significantly higher than it can be today. I have a lot of people that say, well, I want to wait a year to save more money for down payment, which sounds great. But if you really think about the numbers, let's say somebody is going to buy a house for 300,000, they're just going to put 5% down, right? 15 grand. But they want to save enough to put 10% down. It's another 15 grand. That may save them $100 a month in payment. Big deal, right? In the long run, big deal. You're going to wait a whole year just to save $100 a month in payment. But again, you're probably going to pay more for the house and interest rates are likely to be higher. So all that money you saved to put down is for naught because you're going to be in the same situation anyway. So take advantage of the rates right now if you can. And if you don't have the money, down payment assistance programs, you can get gift money from family members. There's a lot of way to come up with money to make it work.
Yeah. And then when you go to resell that house, you're reselling it from having sold it at a higher purchase price. So you don't have the equity that you would have had if you'd bought it at the lower price in the first place. So it really just, the problem builds on itself. So you're absolutely right. Buy it now. I know you've got to jump into the waters with me, and we've got to try to be the first in the door, and you've got to write strong offers, but I carry a laptop in my car for a reason. I've written offers in driveways. I'm ready to go. I'll work around the clock. I got my caffeine. We're ready. We can do this. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It is always a pleasure to work with you and to see your face. And you are just one of my favorite people in real estate. I can't say enough good things about you. So I'll probably be texting you an hour over this is over to talk about I think 3 clients we're working together on right now. So thanks for making the time, Ryan. I really enjoyed this. And I'll see you in the industry later on today. Thank you. Thanks y'all for joining us. We'll see you next week on Ask Amy. Have a great week. Oh, don't forget, you can follow me on YouTube, Amy's on the Move, Realtor Amy Houston in Instagram, Realtor Amy on Twitter, In the Loop with Amy McGee on Facebook, or LinkedIn, Amy McGee. Can't forget my social media. As always, you can call me at 832-865-2390, text me or send smoke signals. I am always here for you. Take care. Have a great week.